name is Brooklyn. I'm in my 4A of Biomedical Sciences and I will be taking you on your tour today. So let's go. So right behind me is the W store. The W store is a great place to buy things like lab coats, dissection kits, modeling kits, and of course science swag. It is also our on-campus source for specialized printing, 3D printing, and regular printing as well.
Here we have an inside view of the W store. You can see the 3D printer on the table. We have University of Waterloo branded merchandise and lab coats for students to wear in their labs. Here we are walking to the STC Starbucks, where the seats and tables have been removed due to COVID-19. We will now walk through the club's hallway, which you can see to the left of the Starbucks sign. This room is for Phys Club, or Physics Club. Please note that you can be in any club regardless of your major because it's all about what interests you. Here we have SIBSA, the Science and Business Club, we have M&S, the Materials and Nanoscience Club, and the SciSoc, or Science Society room, which acts as the science student-run society. Walking back, we have BUGS, the Biology Undergraduate Society. And last but not least, BSA, the Biochemistry Student Association.
So what we just walked through was the club's hallway. It's home to many, but not all, of the science clubs in our faculty. If you were here this morning, you would have heard all about the Science Society from one of their representatives. But if you haven't, Science Society, also known as SciSoc, is a student-run government that represents the science student body. They regularly host many events for social reasons, academic purposes, free giveaways, and for mental wellness. If you're a science student, you're automatically a part of the Science Society, as well as their 7 departmental clubs, and these clubs, unless you've opted out of the science fee, can support students through these different events and things such as student prof nights. They are not program specific. A physics student can hang out in the biology club and vice versa. So we're now on the 4th floor of the Science Teaching Complex, also known as the STC building. This floor, along with the 3rd and 5th floor, are composed all of labs. So first lab that we're going to take a look at are our chemistry labs here on my left. First year chemistry labs have between 60 and 70 students and 4 to 6 teaching assistants. These teaching assistants are generally upper year students that have already taken this course or various graduate students. This lab does run every other week and is run by a chemistry lab instructor, but any questions that you have would generally go through your teaching assistants.
To help make sure first-year students adapt to campus, we want to help provide a more in-detail view. We are now going to explore the inside of STC 4019. You can see that there are overhead fume hoods, as well as larger fume hoods at the walls of the room. It helps make the experiments super easy. Now back to Brooklyn.
So both you and your lab partner for this lab receive a set of keys to unlock a drawer that holds all of your equipment that you need for each experiment in this lab. It's your responsibility to keep them safe and free from damage, and then they use for all the experiments. These experiments include things such as titrations and thermodynamics. The next lab that we're going to look at are the cell physiology labs, or Bio 130 for those of you that might be taking it. They run a little differently than the chemistry labs, as there's 2 TAs running the lab rather than a lab instructor, and around 30 students per lab. These labs do happen every week for 3 hours, and during this time period, you'll do different things like looking at biological reagents and analyzing different enzymes. You might want to check your schedule on Quest because the times for the labs do differ by section.
This was the lab to Brooklyn's right, which we will now get a close-up view of. These labs are much smaller compared to Chem 120, where 2 teaching assistants, or TAs, can help instruct and guide the experiments.
So we're now on the 3rd floor of the STC building, and we're looking at 2 more labs. So on my left here we have the microbiology labs, which run very similarly to the cell physiology labs, but these experiments differ a little bit. It's more growing and staining different kinds of bacteria. As you can see on the door, there is a yellow sticker. This represents that it is a biohazard level 2 lab, which means the safety protocols are much stricter than in Bio 130. Since you're dealing with things such as pneumonia and E. coli, all of your belongings also have to be kept down the hall in the lockers. The next lab that we're going to look at in this building is the physics lab. So the physics lab is also a little different, as you are expected to complete the experiment, analyze the data, and also write your lab report before exiting the lab period. Things that you do in this lab are things like finding the period of a pendulum or exploring the trajectory of a projectile.
Here we are inside the physics labs and can see the pendulum. These are common experiment topics, especially with Physics 112 lab or Physics 122 lab. You can see the experiment details written on the blackboards. Now back to Brooklyn. We thought we would take some time to show you the walk from Biology 1 to the Center for Environment, Information and Technology, or EIT. Here on the 3rd floor of B1, we can see some different skeletons of different animals. There are also some more lockers for microbiology students seen here in this hallway. Here are some offices and seating for students during office hours. Here we have a connection from B1 to the Earth Sciences and Chemistry or ESC building. Some of the second-year organic chemistry labs are in this building. Here we are in the connection between B1 and EIT. We are entering from the 3rd floor of B1 to the 3rd floor of EIT. In this window, the cream building with green glass is EIT. The EIT building is also connected to the physics building as well. There's some slow motion footage for you all. Let's go back to Brooklyn.
So we're now in the Center for Environmental and Information Technology building. We entered on the 3rd floor, we made our way down to the 2nd. So on the 2nd floor of this building, there are multiple different kinds of earth science labs, such as mineralogy and exploring the content of different kinds of rocks. So on my left here is the Science Outreach Office, which is the headquarters for various different science volunteer opportunities for all undergraduate students. Things such as Let's Talk Science and Science Open Houses. Let's Talk Science, for example, is an opportunity for undergraduate students to visit different schools in the community from kindergarten to grade 12 and do different science experiments from marshmallow meiosis to gel electrophoresis. They're a great place to develop some different skills, communication, talking in public, things like that. So this is the project periodic table that we completed at the University of Waterloo for the International Year of Chemistry. We had students worldwide submit drawings for the elements and then voted on each one. So as we're now on the 1st floor of EIT, also known as the Earth Science Museum, and is open to the public, there are multiple different exhibits all around, such as the Great Lakes exhibit over here, or the Paleo Pit to the right. Over here is what we call a gneiss rock. It's approximately 1.2 billion years old and 8.5 meters high. It's from somewhere in northern Ontario and was placed here, and the building was built around it. So we are now in our mining tunnel, which was modeled after a real mining tunnel in Cobalt, Ontario from around the 1960s. We do have some of the original artifacts from that mine in ours. We have the hydraulic drill, which is back here on my right, and we have the Widowmaker, which is right here on my left. A fun fact is that the silver mine from the real Cobalt mine was in fact used to make the Stanley Cup.
Let's go through that again a bit slower. We have the gneiss rock again. There's so much detail, it is a science staple. There's actually a speaker connected to the lever at the very end of the tunnel that makes a tiny explosion sound go off. It's really exciting. You can see the speaker and the lever at the corner right there. Let's continue.
is the Science C&D, which is the coffee and donut shop that we have in the science faculty. It's entirely student run and is a great place to get some cheap coffee, pastries, donuts, things like that. So a little further behind me in this hallway is the Science Undergraduate Office, or the SUO. So the SUO is an excellent resource for first-year students, along with other students, to get a grasp on all academic needs. So if you want to make an appointment with an academic advisor to talk about switching courses, adding minors, transferring, anything like that, they're an excellent resource to have at your fingertips. And when you're in upper years, you do have program-specific advisors that you can contact. Their contact information is on the science website, and you can talk to them about different program-specific needs as well.
Now here we have an inside view of the SUO. There is a front desk where you could speak to an advisor, and furthermore, a place to sit while you wait for an appointment. You can even color, draw, or read some cool facts while you wait. Now back to Brooklyn.
So as well as these advisors and the SUO, we do have other resources available for you at the University of Waterloo, such as SSO, which is the Student Success Office. The SSO offers peer coaching, test preparation, how to study, things like that. They can help you a lot when it comes to exam season. And then we have counseling. So counseling takes place in Needles Hall. It's important that we keep our mental health in good shape, and they're there to help you with that. We offer group counseling and things such as that.
Flipping the camera to walk back now, we are going to explore the second floor of STC a bit further. To the left, we have the pathway that Brooklyn took to get to the SUO. Turning to the right, we have some study space and the back entrance to one of the biggest lecture halls on campus, STC 1012. There are 4 screens that can come down to help students at the back see. Only one of them is shown here, as well as speakers that work with the instructor's microphone. Here, there's a front view to help see STC 1012 when you walk in from the front entrance. There are reserved seating available to anyone that requires so, which is provided through UW Accessibility Services. Now back to Brooklyn at the SUO hallway.
So now we've come to the end of our tour. I want to thank you for joining me today.